Hey, I'm Nate, lead animator and senior developer at Crowbar Collective. I did a lot of the animations on Black Mesa, and I'm here to talk to you about how we did true first person and some of the other animation challenges in our latest game, Rogue Point. So wait, what is true first person? Well, in most first person games, even today, you're just a floating pair of arms holding a gun. If you look down, you don't see any legs because you have no body. Everybody just accepts this. But then starting around Crisis, there could have been an earlier game, I don't know, devs thought, hey, what if we also had floating legs? So that when you look down, you see a body and realism is increased.
Maximum immersion.
But it's still a cheat. You don't really have a body. So wait, why don't I see floating arms and disembodied legs running around in my games? Well, using another trick, the game only shows the floating arms to you. To everybody else, it shows a totally different set of animations, and we call these third-person animations. And they have to be made in addition to the first-person animations, so it effectively doubles your workload. But then a few games, including Rogue Point, use what's called true first-person. There are no third-person animations. There is simply a camera stuck on top of your head, and your body is doing the exact same motions to you and to others watching. This seems like the easiest and most straightforward way to make a first-person shooter, so why doesn't everybody do it? Well, it's actually by far the most difficult way to make a first-person game, for reasons you do not expect. Here's some of the biggest challenges we encountered during the development of Rogue Point and how we tackled them. No cheating. First-person animations only need to look good from one particular angle, the players. So it wasn't long before clever animators figured out that they could cheat a lot. Cartoonish balloon hands, impossibly stretchy torsos, all of this punches up the impact of the animations and it feels really good to play. But it's a complete non-starter for a true first-person game like Rogue Point. We had to figure out how to make the game feel like this without cheating like this. So one of our mantras was first person first. If you look at some of the other players in Rogue Point, sometimes their animations look a little weird. It's really tempting to just take that gun and nudge it down so that it looks more natural. But then you don't see it from first person and it feels weird to have your gun suddenly disappear while you're running. So we hold it up high, first person first. Also, the way we hold some of our weapons, we've got some clipping issues. But it reads well from first person, so we leave it. These are compromises that have to be made when we decide how we're animating each weapon in true first person. Those don't have to be made in more traditional approaches. So now we need a really good rig. We used Maya for this, and we probably will for future titles just because I have 20 years experience on it. Man, I'm old. Buckle up, Chuckles, because this is going to get technical. We decided on a universal weapon skeleton so that we wouldn't have to create a separate skeleton and animation blueprint for every weapon. So there's essentially this bone cloud that we repurpose and reconfigure for every weapon in the game. Our weapons can be space switched between world, pelvis, chest, left hand, right hand, and head. The weapon magazines can also be space switched between the weapon, left hand, right hand, or world, and our hands can space switch between weapon, the other hand, mag 1, mag 2, and world. So this means that a lot of our animations are a chain. Weapon follows the head, mag 1 follows the weapon, left hand follows mag 1. We use Animbot to handle seamless space switching, and later versions of the rig also have that built in. Then we bake the weapon's movements in world space, zero the weapon out, and use modified Maya game exporter to send that out to Unreal. Once in the game, we don't actually use Unreal's existing IK gun bones, and we parent the gun directly to the right hand. I have mixed thoughts about whether this was a good decision. We originally thought that we would never be holding a weapon in the left hand, so why not? We ended up having weapon sockets for both the left hand and the right hand that go to the gun's root bone, and we can toggle which hand the gun is parented to, depending on which hand is holding the gun at a particular point in time. We use IK to clamp the left hand to two spots on the gun, a normal holding position and a foregrip position. We read from an animation curve that smoothly turns IK on or off whenever the hand has to let go of the gun. It means we don't need a separate animation set for the foregrip. The right hand has no IK at all. There are a lot of animations that are almost the same for most weapons, such as running, walking, jumping, hand signals. Since we shipped in Unreal 4.27, we decided not to use Control Rig, which was marked as experimental for that version. So instead, we brute forced all those redundant animations. We had a big monolithic Maya file with a lot of animation layers, and each layer was the same set of core animations tweaked for that particular gun. So in a few hours, we could run a new weapon through this universal moveset, and we get all the animations the game required. And if the core set ever changed, and it did, we could propagate those changes out to all the weapons. The one Maya file got too big and too slow, so we ended up having 4 of these files, each with 15 to 20 weapons in them. If you want a more detailed breakdown of this, let me know in the comments. I might make it someday. One regret I do have is our hands. They are not great. This is one of those things I call original sins. It's unfortunate that in game development, the first thing you start working on is the main character, but also you're still learning. So you're most likely to make mistakes on the main character, the most important thing in your game. And by the time you realize those mistakes, there's already too much built and created on top of that shaky foundation. So you just have to deal with it. Our hands were a store asset I thought looked good at the time, but trying to pose them was painful. We ended up hooking a bunch of scaling and hand sculpting controls, and we would also routinely break the finger joints and bend them in weird ways just to get it looking somewhat okay from first person. My recommendation is wear gloves in Rogue Point.
Let's do it.
So earlier I mentioned no cheating, but then I had a bunch of asterisks. That's because we do still cheat in a number of ways. Let's look. First, do you know how it looks if you just bolt a camera directly onto the head of a running man? It looks like this. Oh, I'm gonna be sick. In real life, our brain is an incredibly good stabilizer as we move around. We don't have that in games. Our solution? The camera isn't actually attached to the head. It's just in the general vicinity. It remains still during all movement. We do add a little artificial shake during the run just to make it more intense. And when we do things like climb or jump to a ladder, the camera really separates from the head to make those motions as smooth as possible. Second cheat, if you just put a camera directly inside your head, you'll see this. Horrifying. So we do hide the head, but only for you. Except then you're the headless horseman in your own shadow. So then we have to do this shadow buffer workaround trick, and it's an ordeal, but it works. Third cheat, and this is a big one. After the Steam Next Fest demo came out in June 2025, we got a lot of feedback about the game's lack of aim-down sights, or ADS. I personally don't like ADS. I didn't grow up on games that had it, and I feel like it negatively affects the intensity of the gunplay. Watch these videos if you want to learn more. But the feedback was pretty 10-ish. And Crowbar listens to our community. So we made the 11th hour decision to add aim-down sights. And how to do this landed squarely on me. This opened up not just a can of worms, but a dump truck of worms. Remember how we said that normal first-person games can get away with a lot of optical illusions? Aim-down sights is one of their biggest tricks. We had to figure out how to do it in true first-person. And, spoiler alert, we didn't get it perfect on the first try. So first, we had to hunt down all the tiny inconsistencies built up in our pipeline over the years, because true first-person requires exact precision. The camera socket getting bumped 0.1 centimeters off the X-axis back in 2023 was unnoticeable in normal gameplay, but for true first-person, it threw off the alignment. A 0.99 upper body blend had to become 0.999. We had to create animations for every gun of aiming down iron sights and then aiming down scopes, both for crouched and standing positions. This is what it looks like for true aim-down sights. Like, this is how it has to be for first person. But the other players cannot see this. So, we violated our true first-person rule, and we created a special third-person animation just for aim-down sights. There's much more that I could go into. So I will. We had to build a swappable camera system that parented to the gun instead of the head, so that there wouldn't be microscopic wobbles when panning the camera while in ADS. Our weapon scopes had to be rebuilt and carefully aligned around the same center point. Some weapons weren't built with aim-down sights in mind and had to be rebuilt. We had to make smaller muzzle flashes for aim-down sights so that your view wasn't super blocked by them when firing. And at the end of it all, what we shipped on Early Access Day 1 was Trying to analyze the feedback, we realized that our scopes were like looking down a toilet paper roll, and that other games didn't seem to have this problem. And then we realized that if you drastically lower the FOV, it compresses the scope and makes it appear less deep, more flat. We already had an FOV shader so that the player could adjust their weapon FOV and their camera FOV separately. So by leveraging that shader, we were about to cheat even bigger. So blowing out the FOV optically solves it, but now it's too close to the camera. You have to zoom and dolly to make this trick work. But we can't move the gun further away because the arms are already reaching as far as they can. And we can't move the camera because that would shift your view of the rest of the world. So what if we used that same FOV shader and shifted all the vertices of the model forward, literally jumping you out of your body? It sounds insane, but that's what we did. And furthermore, we were having trouble with the ADS firing animations. Since the gun was parented to the right hand instead of the world, we couldn't get clear translations, and firing the gun in ADS was often disorienting. So what if we ditched firing animations and we just used the FOV shader to rapidly shift all the vertices of the model backward and forward to mimic a firing motion? Yes, yes. So all of this got packaged as ADS 2.0. And if you tried Rogue Point's gunplay at early access launch and went, maybe give it another shot for me? Or you could be like me and never use this feature I spent hundreds of hours making, and just use good old push zoom. It plays identically to ADS, just no gun in your face. It's better. Fight me. So there you have it, just some of the challenges we overcame when developing Rogue Point. Shout out to Bo Yao, Hayden Cooper, Russ Brigham, and others who animated our weapons while being constrained by true first person. I learned a lot on this project, but would I do true first person again? Probably not. It's a neat hat trick, but any time we saved on third person animations was more than made up for by the time it took to iron out all the quirks in the system. Check out Rogue Point on Steam, and I work on lots of projects, so hit the bell for more updates.